Okay, all, and I am back for part 6. So, I started today on part 4. So, if you have not seen parts, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, check those out. Come on back for this one. So, let's just pick up right where we left off. This is page, 35? 36, I think, here. Um, and we're going to talk about this is probably the biggest feature in Dungeon Crusade. And this is something I'm really happy about that I created and developed it. This was something to me that was really groundbreaking for especially for the dungeon crawl game. And let me explain that, I said I've played these games ever since I was a kid to now, and I've always wanted a board game that would kind of simulate a living dungeon in air quotes. So, in the course of developing this, I created the patrol route system. And I worked with a company years ago on making a special die called the Patrol Route die. And I'm not going to get into this now because there would be plenty. There's actually a video, a demo I did a few years ago on the company's YouTube channel. And I demonstrate the Patrol Route system. And it's probably one of the biggest things I'm proud of. And because it's going to give people something really new and exciting to experience. And, as a creator, that's what you should be doing. Create something for people that they're going to fully enjoy and, wrap their heads and hearts around. So basically what this is each dungeon board, I just grab these posters real quick. There's 4 dungeons in Dungeon Crusade: the Ancient Ruins, Castle Blackwood, Cavern of Lost Soul. This is a very unique one. It's partly outside, dungeon tucked away in the back, and then a cavern. I designed all these, and these amazing artists took my blueprint and created these. I absolutely love creating dungeons. And the most deadly dungeon of all, the Tomb of Kaladar. And this is coming up in the rulebook, so let's save that. But let's just take the Ancient Ruins. This is just cut here for the, because of the poster. It's actually, totally square. Each dungeon is 3 by 2 feet. And each, it's kind of like the dungeon when I designed this, it's like a grid. And the patrol route system is like, see these lines, right, or these symbols here? There's these lines that are networked throughout the dungeon, and there's spawn points. So basically, when you roll the die on a monster's turn on actually a minion or guardian, they will traverse through the dungeon with unpredictable movement patterns. And that's something that, that you want in a dungeon crawl game. You want this, this is a totally solo game. You could play a co-op, but I designed this from the ground up to be a solo game. And because I love soloing games. So with the patrol route system, it gives you that living dungeon experience. And you could manipulate of how many minions enter the dungeon and guardians. So if you want a not that hard of a challenge, you could just spawn in a few minions and 1 guardian, or you could go totally full throttle and have 18 minions and 6 guardians spawned in. You'll never beat it. I guarantee you won't. But so the patrol route system is this unique system that where they can traverse with unpredictable movement pattern. And what I was saying before is that's what you want in these kind of games. That you want that element of surprise for the player. You want that randomness. You want that invisible AI in a way, so you don't know. You want to give the monsters like an AI and a brain that like you don't know what's going to happen. And I assure you that the patrol route system nails this perfectly. And I'm very excited for you guys to try this out. Very excited. And I'll just real quick. These are how they spawn in. These are the monster spawn points. These are skull pile nodes. When a monster spawns in, quite simply, there's 8 of these green ones. Roll a d8. That's when the monster spawns in at. So you'll never know where monsters are going to come in at. Okay, moving right along, we are going. This section starts with the monsters, and the hierarchy of monsters in Dungeon Crusade are minions, champions, and guardians. So this section we're going to get into talking about all the monsters, and there's these 5 races of monsters in the game. There's undead, human, mythical, beast, and demonic. This is a level 3 champion, normal and elite versions. This is a fallen king. So this just goes in about the monsters. This goes into breaking down. We start with the minions first, and I broke down all the minions, what you have to know. This is an orc siege breaker. Minions in the game can level from level 1, 2, and 3. What is it? There's, for monster count, I believe there's 174 monsters in each difficulty deck. You know, there's normal, expert, and heroic difficulty monster deck. So you can combine all those together, so you don't know what will be coming out in the dungeon. So that's an Orc Siegebreaker. Here I just broke down a minion card for you, tell you what everything is about. What I just kind of talked about, spawning in minions. That goes into that. The next page is activating a minion. So this is, you can see, and I think you know now that how thorough I am with everything. You know, this is not really a rule book, it's a Bible. And one of the cool features about this is, you know, there's vagrant minions. Speaking of minions still, there's vagrant minions and there's raiding minions. Well, a vagrant minion is, you know, the dungeon is their home, right? So they're just traversing on the patrol route system, going about their business. However, there's always a chance, and there's 6 different difficulties for this. They can become raiding minions. And a raiding minion will head out of the dungeon to raid the village, thus raising the terror track up by a notch. So this talks about that mechanic, a very easy to follow you know, system for this. Super easy. As I've said, Dungeon Crusade is massive and very girthy. This is not complex, guys. I hate complex games. Very easy game mechanics. Basically, they follow the bloody arrows out of the dungeon, so your heroes must stop them. This here, actually, this is from an encounter card. There's 87 unique encounters in the game, and I loved writing encounters. Each encounter card has unique art, so this is from an encounter in the game. Finish this up here. Just kind of like what I talked about a little bit here. Terror level goes up, minion escapes, you raise the terror level. Pro Crusader tip, I have these throughout the rulebook. If a hero is ever within 4 squares of a vagrant minion, and the minion has clear line of sight, it will convert into a raiding minion. And minions in the game have a line of sight of 4 squares. And then this talks more about a raiding minion. So let's get into we're going to get into the champion monsters here. Champion monsters lurk in the dungeon, in the chambers of the dungeon. And one of the most exciting things is chamber battles, because you never know what monster is lurking inside. That's why, if we go back to, we talked about partying heroes together, you most certainly want to rally and party heroes together before venturing in to a chamber. Quite simply, there's the monster tokens. So if you go in, there's a level 2 monster, you're going to draw from the level 2 champion deck. Normal and elite monsters. Freddy Lopez, his amazing art. Monstrous Spider, that's a champion level 1. Breaking down a monster card here. Yes, I blurred this out. This is an elite version of the Keeper of the Faith. The normal version would have a silver star instead of a gold, and they have the origin story I wrote for where it came from in the land of Avalon. I wrote origin stories for everything for you guys. And so this is a very nasty monster, by the way, and it has Book of Tormented Souls. Freddy Lopez, awesome. I worked with him, gave him some design of what I thought for this, threw in his own thing. Keeper of the Faith, part of a religious evil faction called the Faith in the game. And we're going to go into, I'm not going to give you too many spoilers about that. So, and then we're going to close out. This is about, incantations. We'll close out. This is a nice way to close out, and I'm going to kind of be quick. Heroes can evade out of a chamber. If the monster's just too tough and they don't have, you know, they're not proficient in the warfare types, they can evade out of a chamber. And this little diagram here shows Maheliak has successfully evaded out. However, when you evade out, that monster in that chamber will start an incantation. And that is when you have to put a token on the incantation track. If too many tokens get on the incantation track, a hex is placed over the village. And I'm going to tell you now, hexes are not good at all. We'll talk about that more in the future. Guys, I love you guys. We're almost done with this. I'm so happy. I hope you have a great weekend. I hope you enjoyed talking with me or just listening to me chat about the game. Very excited. Okay, guys, I'll be back with part 7 next weekend and the Kickstarter update. I hope you all have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.